Yo, welcome to Sig Slayers, the comic signature show, period. I'm Mike the Sig Slayer, chilling with Mark the Honorable Villain. What up, fam?
What's up, Mike? This artist we got is the best at what she does. Her job is to catch your eyes.
Man, she got it covered on all bases. Joining us today, we have comic book veteran Maria the Wolf Lopez. But before we chop it up with Maria, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please comment, all right? Our next guest is one of the hottest cover artists in the game. You've seen her work on Transformers, Ghost Rider, the April Fool's Day variant for DC, and the #1 cover for the latest run on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Ladies and gentlemen of the Stash Land, we bring to you Maria the Wolf Lopez. What's up, Maria?
Woo! Good. How about you guys?
Oh man, we are pumped.
Good.
We're excited to have you on. We have some great questions lined up for you, so let's just dive right on in. So since it's your first time joining us, Maria, we always like to get everyone's comic book origin story. In other words, how did you get your first gig in pro comics?
Ooh, I mean, that's a good question. Ooh, my first gig? It was by luck. I will say that. Well, you know what? My first gig was professionally was through my friend Marcusson, who's done By the Horns. And, I was in hiatus for like 2 years doing comics or even art in general. And he asked if I could do a cover for his new up-and-coming book. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I kid you not, right after that, it was just a miracle in the making. It's within 1 year of just nonstop posting art. I got an email from Marvel that said, would you like to do a cover for, the Women of Marvel? And the rest is history. After that cover, I've been having covers every month, every week. So nonstop work, and here we are today.
and when was that? What year was that when you got that call from Marvel or that email from Marvel?
2020. So during COVID.
Oh man! So man, when everybody was in despair, you got one of your greatest opportunities.
Yeah, actually, that was the funniest part. Funny and sad too, because all my friends were like suffering because the conventions weren't doing so well, and a lot of people were losing their jobs, and I was the one in the background going, "Man, this is the best year of my life." And yeah, that was it. I had just quit my job, and I said, "I'm gonna do this full time. What else do I have to lose?" I just paid off a bunch of debt, and I was free to finally do what I truly love, and yeah. 2020, baby.
2020, baby. I feel the same way. It was.
I had a good year too.
I had a good 2022.
We're the ones who are like, in the background. Ooh, I'm doing good.
Well, I want to get into your style, Maria, because that's what really draw me to your art, because it took me back to like almost ancient times, and so for me it reminded me of like the spirit of Aztec art, but in like modern times. I don't know if that resonates with you at all, but I wanted to ask you, where do you draw your inspiration from?
It's that's one of the questions I get asked a lot, is like, where did it all come from? And I think it's just a little bit of everything I like, and I think people just resonate with that. So I'm a big fan of like tattoo work. I love horror, video games, comic books, a lot of pop culture, things that are just badass in its own way. It's so every little thing that I've grown to love, I feel other people will appreciate it because there's something for everybody as well in there. So.
Okay. Well, I wanted to get on this. Maria, what are your artistic techniques? Do you do traditional or do you do digital? And can you tell us why you chose either form?
Okay, yeah. I actually do both, to tell you the truth, but more traditional than digital, right? I still like the smell of paper and the feeling of ink and touching new materials. I love to go into art stores or to get my hands on paint or whatever. I can't do too much digital because of my eyes. I don't know how people can sit on the screen all day, even though I'm on my cell phone like 24/7. Just YouTube and everything. But yeah, I mean, I love traditional. I love to make mistakes, and I think I love traditional because it makes you a very how do I say this? You learn real quickly not to make a lot of mistakes when you're traditional, right? Because then you have to start all over again or find a way to fix it. Because with digital, Well, that's the thing about digital. You make a mistake, you can easily just go back and, reverse it. You clean it up. You don't ever have to. But the thing about traditional, all the little flaws, all the little mistakes, not the perfect lines. There's a character to it. It makes it more unique. But I do feel that you should know digital too, because let's be realistic. If I send in some artwork and my editor tells me, well, the hands are too small, or, the head, something's wrong, right? Well, easily I could scan it, size it up or size it smaller, stretch it out, mess with it, instead of me having to re-go and redo it all over again. So it is good to know digital too for small little things too. I use it to clean up a lot of my work when there's, or add more to it, which it is. There's always like a good 25% more. I add more into the finished cover. So you need to know both. It's good just to have both, especially in this world. You need to know a little bit of digital to fix things like that when your editor needs it. So yeah.
Well, like in
love that
the
answer.
collector's aspect, like we like traditional because we can collect it and we can buy it and everything too.
Right. Well, you see, and that's the thing too. Like, everybody's going digital now because the world tells you, well, you got to be like this. You got to be fast. You need to go digital. But I've been surviving on traditional more than anything, right? Yeah, you could still succeed with traditional, but it's a business sense too, right? Because when people are going into digital, I don't ever say nothing about that. When more and more people are like, yes, go become a digital artist. I'm like, yeah, please do. Because the more digital, then there's what? Less traditional. And when there's less traditional, our value goes up higher, because now people like collectors will go and put big money to have physical media, right? Because that's what we're losing these days is physical media. I get paid for my jobs, but I get paid even more when I sell the traditional. So yeah, I'm always for traditional more than anything.
Maria, can you tell us about one of your earlier works? For the people that haven't read it, can you tell us about Lost Pages?
Lost Pages was a little thing too. It was with my hiatus with one of my buddies. He just wanted me to get back into comics, and he had his own characters and designs too, and I helped out with that. But I did get a little bit busy with that too, so I gave him all the work. I said, here, go. Here's the building blocks for the next artist to deal with. And it's come a long way of what he's done with it, so I'm very happy with that. So I didn't have too much work with that. I wasn't really involved so much with that as what he's built with it. But I think the one after that one, I would say, is Dear Woman. That was a little bit more what I was involved with. Right. That was really cool. That was with a group of artists, a lot of Indigenous women artists as well too. Who, if anybody knows the story of Dear Woman, it's a warning to men on how to treat women, because if not, one day you'll come across the Dear Woman, which is a woman who, you get mesmerized by her. She's so pretty and so beautiful, but by the time you look at her feet, it's too late. Because if you notice, she'll have deer hooves, and then she stomps you to death because you mistreated a bunch of women. So it's a really good story. It's a great way to tell young boys and younger men, and even men to this day too. But it's a great warning. But it's a beautiful book too. Everybody interpreted differently. I interpreted it in my own way. So that I did give a lot more sequentials, and I felt more close to it as well too. And but I would say that was my first published. I say even before Lost Pages, I think that one was first. So it does have a little bit more meaning to me because of that. Because it's your first one, right? So
right.
So that one I felt a little bit more like embraced with. So
speaking of interiors, you're really popular cover artist. Are there any plans to return back to interiors anytime in the near future?
Yes, actually, right. Which for a long time I didn't want to. Trust me when I say this. I love it, cover art. It's the best thing out there. That's so funny. I got into this career, and you see everybody say, "Oh, you got the easy job. Oh, you got the good job," and I never knew what that meant, especially starting off. Until I found out, like, oh, I see why everybody wants my job. Because it's less stressful, right? Because when I started interiors, that was the one thing too. I got away from interiors because it was just too much. It's the demand to have so many pages done by the end of the month. And it, to me, like I said, I worked with I used to do interiors a long time ago. Had a lot of micromanaging bosses, and I do not like that. I have an authority complex. So not just because I'm 4'10", but I do not like micromanaging, especially when it's a comic book. And I do like good feedback. I like us to be a good team and work together. But if I'm coming to you to ask for help or what do you think, and you just go, whatever you want, I'm like, no, that's not how it works out. It works out at all, right? Just because, you get it done and then you show them and then they're like, I don't really like this. And you're like, well, we could have skipped all of this if you had just told me what you wanted, right? So I am a very directional kind of artist. But I am getting back finally with Tim Seeley, which is a wonderful writer and an artist as well too, with Hack and Slash and a lot of DC
Local
stuff.
Man.
Yeah, Local Man, his biggest one right now. But it's funny, for years Tim has always wanted me to do interiors with him, but I always went meh. And not because I didn't want to work with Tim, it's just I had other things I wanted to go and do myself and figure it out. But then finally he caught me with an email that said, okay, I finally got you. I was like, okay, what do you have? And he's like, werewolves. I was like, that's all you need to say. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Right? So, and it's going to be a really cool story. It's already greenlit with IDW. It's called Wild Game. Hopefully it'll be out by next September when I start those pages. So, but no, I have to get more serious on it too. But yeah, if you guys like blood and gore, and if you're into the movie The Thing.
Yes.
Oh.
Body horror, teeth right here and claws and hands, like all that. So, I'm really excited. Once again, like I told you, Tim's a wonderful horror artist and writer, and I'm a big fan of that. So I'm super, super excited. With all the detail I put, with all that gore and blood, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a real good comic book.
Oh man, that's awesome. Maria, can you break down the Native Knowledge 360?
That was for the Smithsonian Museum, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So, it's been a while, so I'm like, God, I forgot what they were. I know it was the history, because I did two things for them. I know it was for beaver pelts, or the fur trade, something like that. Then there was a disease too that we talked about. It was talking about a certain native tribe too. That's how long it's been since I've done that. But I've worked with the Smithsonian Museum at least once or twice. That's because I've met some really good friends in Indigenous Con. Now it's called Indigi-Pop, if I'm correct. But there was an Indigenous convention that came out, 2016, 2018, somewhere around there. That's when it was the first Indigenous Con that celebrated the works of Indigenous writers, artists, celebrities.
Well, what state was this in?
This was in New Mexico. So,
oh wow!
Okay. Yeah, started off in New Mexico, and when I first heard that, I had to get on that boat. I was like, I really want to represent it. And I've met some wonderful people through that because of that. And one of them worked with the Smithsonian Museum that deals with a lot of Indigenous, histories. And they say, would you like to draw it? It's an interactive thing. You could go online on the website too, and so you can still see a lot of my artwork there. And it's showing like traditions, certain natives. They're talking about the fur trade, sicknesses and wars that happen, and yeah, that was fun. Who would have thought that I could say that? Yeah, I've done some work for the Smithsonian Museum, so.
Yeah, that's a flex, if I say.
Right. You should always have your book open, right, to opportunities that come forward. Just because you do comics doesn't mean that you can't do other things too, right? That's why I always try to. Whoever wants work from me and with any subject, just bring me along, and I'll do my best I can for it.
Maria, can you tell us about who were some of your influences growing up as an artist?
Oh, lots of them, but I would say the first two, the main ones in comic books for sure, was Humberto Ramos and Joe Mad. And it's not even the way that you might think, like, oh, it's because of their art. No, if it's the way they thought, right? They were comic book artists that got tired of seeing the same old thing over and over again. And they wanted to do their own thing, and they were really big nerds. They were into anime and video games, and they just said, screw that, we'll draw our own characters and our own stories. And they did. They made Marvel scared for quite some time because people were loving their work because they had their own ideas. And growing up, that's what I like. That if there's anything, I get inspired by people that don't give up, say, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to show you that it's worth that time and effort. And just like that, they just show that they can succeed, right? So growing up with those guys, I like the fact that they wanted to be different. They made their own company. They had their own style. And yeah, that's it. But other people in my life have come around. Jill Thompson's one of them, which is my teacher. She's just a badass woman. Every time I look at her and her stories, and I'm like, man, I really want to grow up to be just as badass as you. I grow up with Pat Gleason's a wonderful, Doug Mankey's a wonderful guy.
Yes.
Well, like all these guys I've met through these conventions, and we've gotten along, and we got to talk, and I could call them my really good companions and friends as well too. But like I said, it's because they're very powerful people when you talk to them and they meet them, that they know who they are, right? They don't pretend who they're not, and you can't scare them. That's what I like about them. You can't intimidate them because they look at you and they're like, the moment you try to start with them, they're like, get in the back of the line or I'll kick your ass. So, and those are the people I really look up to. So,
Maria, talking about another trailblazer. Where did you come up with the idea for the MF Doom remark? Are you a big MF Doom fan?
Yes, I am actually. I'm not a hardcore fan, so don't start giving me like those little questionnaires. Well, you know what happened in this? What was the line? Verse
No.
I'm not gonna be there, but I do enjoy his music. I like the same thing too. This was a man that I enjoyed too because the way he thought, right? I don't want you to judge me for the way I look. I want you to judge my music, right? I want you to judge. That's why he wore that mask. I thought as a kid, I was like, that's so freaking badass, right? Because that's how I am too. I don't care for the way I look. I want you to judge me by what I put into my art, right? The intensity of that. Judge me by my work, not just by the base of how I look. So, yeah, but that man, like I said, rest in peace, King. You know, he died too young, and it sucks that only when he passed away he became like super famous and well known. But I love it. I love that people are now getting to know his music and like who he was and what he believed in. But I was like, man, if only you had told him that younger, I bet you that would have like.
I have to ask this question. I mean, because you worked with a lot of Dream IP already, Ninja Turtles, hello, right? A lot of stuff. But is there a Dream IP that you haven't worked on in any capacity that you're dying to get your hands on?
Oh, all of them. I rather, if they could give me a cover for each character, each series, just once, you know. And I'm barely 4 years in, so I'm close to, what is it, by the end of this year, I think I'd be to 80 to 90 covers already and within 4 years, right? And there's still so many characters and stories and yeah, you know, and that's why I get excited because I'm like, the journey doesn't end yet because there's still so much more, right? I really want a Lobo cover. I really would love to do. Lobo would be badass. That's my number one goal with DC. I'd love to do a Predator cover. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I always get angry they didn't tell me to do a Wolverine with Predator. When that came out, I was like, oh, I would have loved to do that. You know, I would still love to do He-Man. He-Man, I've done G.I. I've done Cobra, I've done Transformers. You know, now it's who's the next one from that? You know, even Thundercats. So I was like, give me, and I would totally do like a freaking badass Skeletor on Panther. Like, oh, it would be really some cool stuff. But yeah, this is the same thing too with companies. I've worked with Marvel, DC, Oni, you know, Boom. I worked with a majority of them. I still want Dark Horse. I'd love a Hellboy if I could do a Hellboy cover. That'd be pretty awesome. So if I can, like I said, as long as I can get one from each, you know, series and from each company, I'm set. I would complete my goal. So
man, that sounds awesome. That sounds
right.
Well, last question, Maria. This has been great. Is there anything else? You just dropped the bomb on us. You're gonna be working with Tim Seeley on some horror stuff. Oh my God. So I mean, I don't know how do we even top that, but we would ask anyway. Is there anything we haven't discussed? Anything you're working on now that you want people to know about? Pick up that's coming on in the upcoming months. Any other con appearances, so on and so forth.
I mean, I just so my cover for Savage Conan the Barbarian comes out I think next week, and more too. So that was fun. The people for that series really liked my work, and they're just generally really nice people. And they said, "Would you like to do more covers?" I was like, "Hell yeah, it's Conan the Barbarian. Bring them to me." Because I grew up with that. I like Frank Frazetta work, and I'm a big fantasy person as well. Let's see, X-23, which is called Nyx, that's coming out as well next week too. So, I mean, what have I not worked in? You know, the next Marvel one too is Kahori. I did that one, which is, if you saw What If, that series with that new native character. So they're now making, like, I think a one-shot of her story for Indigenous Month, which is in November. So I got to do a variant cover for that. Some Deadpool stuff, Deadpool team up. I got a new thing for DC. All I can really say is Godzilla and Justice League. I can't really say much as that.
Okay.
So that's going to be really awesome. Godzilla and Justice League, I was like, that's a double whammy for me. I was like, yeah, I'm on that. That new company too, or well, they're not new. They've been here for a
Distillery?
Yeah. So I got 2 covers with more start with Vol. Constant work. I have like literally like 10 projects all lined up. All, like I said, this year I've worked on a lot more than I've ever have. I think it's gonna come out to about 20 or 30 covers, even more by the end of the year. So that's exciting. I mean, I'm doing like 17 conventions, so.
Yeah, you were just in Chicago for an expo.
Yep.
Right.
So I got 7 more to go. The next one going is Cape and Cowl, literally this weekend.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just constant work. I'm never resting really, and if I do, I rest for a day. Not even a day, a couple of hours, and I go, okay, let's go back to work. So.
Is this the plan to take over the world? And it seems like it is for you right now. You're like the brain for Peaky and the Brain. Like, you want to take over the world. You want all the characters.
Oh, of course.
You want everything.
Oh, yeah. I want every single thing. That's the one question. I remember when I was in college, and Jill Thompson, that's the one question she asked me. She's like, what do you want from this, right? That's the one question we all ask. She said, what do you want from this? And I said, I really don't care for the fame or the money. If I get that, that's great. That's a bonus on the side. But if anything, I just want my name to be known. I just want to be part of the legends. I want that Eisner Award. I want that Ringo. I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to be not just here in America. I want to be sent to, Scotland, Italy, Japan. I want to go to those conventions. I want to go to Mexico. I want to go to Molocan and, go to Brazil. I want to go to all those places because that's the thing. I just want in the end, I just want people to know who I am. That's the fact that if I walk down a convention, you'll know me instantly, right? Before anything, you'll be like, oh shit, it's Wolf. And I'm like, hey, what's up? More than anything than that, like I said, that's all I want. If anything, if I get everything else on the side, it's perfect. I will accept that and I'd love it. But all that is a hustle. It's all hard work. It's all not getting tired and not giving up. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it's grueling. This is grueling work. And I tell people that whoever want to go into the world of comics, this is not an easy thing. It looks easy on the outside. It is extremely difficult on the inside. I tell people, if you ever want this to be your passion, your job, your career, you got to get ready you got to build some muscle, like tough skin. I've seen grown men cry because they haven't succeeded yet. I've seen people quit and then do something else because they can't survive from what they are, what they love. But, right now I'm on a good run and I don't want to stop. It's gotten so, but there are sacrifices to that, right? Good thing. You can't have it all, right? You can't have, you can't have your steak and your cake on the side, right? One or the other. And I tell people that too. Like, if you really want this, I live, breathe, dream my job every day. I go to concerts and I'm working on my job. That's the funniest thing out there. If we're going to a concert, you'll see me with the opener, with my little pad just drawing, because I'm waiting for the main band, not the opener. And people have told me, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm working. This is due literally tonight. So I do that, If I go to those after parties on the conventions, and then you'll hear stories from a lot of people from me, that if they party with me, oh, I'll party. I'll get down, I'll have fun, I'll smoke, I'll drink, and I'll knock out in the same hotel room. And then you see me at 3-4 o'clock in the morning on the art table, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I got commissions due. I can't go to sleep, right? Because that's just how I am. It's I will say this though, from what 2017 is, oh hell yeah. Everything that I have now, I repeat it and I do it again. I'd suffer, I'd cry, I'd do everything that made me where I am right now. Because 2017 me was, I hated it too and I loved it, but it was just still the beginning of me grinding and getting to that point. 2018 is where I sadly had to stop because I had to also focus on, and that's the thing too, a lot of people don't understand is like your survival comes first, right? I know, I understand you love your career and you love your job, but if you can't pay the bills and you can't have, some bread, not even a bag of rice on the side, you have to understand that as stubborn as you are, right? You need to eat and you got to pay those bills so that you can continue, so that you can succeed in your career. And that's what I had to do. Those 2 years from 2018 to 2020, I got a full-time job for the first time. I've never had a full-time job. Ooh, you're talking to the person who I've had 12 jobs in my lifetime. Every year I quit and get a new job. So, because like I said, I just have an authority complex. I'm a damn good worker. But the moment you talk down on me, ooh, we're going to have an issue about that, right? Trust me. And but those 2 years from 2017 to 2020, 3 years, I stopped drawing. I focused on paying off my bills. It was grueling and it made me really sad and depressed. I was a very angry person and people would always wonder why I came to work angry. And I was like, because I'm not supposed to be doing any of this. I'm supposed to be doing what I love, right? And so the day I finally paid off all my debt, oh, did I walk out with like, hell yeah. Started telling everybody, F you, I'm done, I'm free. And I kid you not, just like that, and also with my job, I became more depressed. I gained a lot more weight than I am now. And then when I was able to finally do what I love, right? Because that's the thing too. Everybody should understand your happiness comes first, more than anything. More than even wealth itself, your happiness, right? And I tell people that too. Just because you have to stay in a job to survive, that doesn't mean you don't need to not be happy. Make happiness out of that, right? I tell people all the time, you didn't have your dream job, but because you needed to get an office job so that you could pay the bills, that's totally fine. I totally get that. But make the best out of it, right? You're getting that office job. Don't be frugal. Don't take everything and put every little penny to the side because you're over here like hoarding money like a dragon, right? No, go make the best out of it. Put money aside. Go have a vacation. Go to San Diego Comic-Con. Go buy those figurines. You like that statue of Naruto that was $500? Go buy it for yourself, right? You like that the Lord of the Rings thing, Frodo's sword. You like that? It's $1,000 replica. Go buy it, right? Go enjoy yourself. That's how I see where I am now. I'm very grateful where I am now. Would I go through all that hell just to be where I am now? Hell yeah, I would. I'd do it again and again and again. My parents always tell me, the one thing my parents told me, oh, what's plan B if this doesn't work out, right? You know what I tell my parents? Oh, plan B? Plan B is to figure out how to get back to plan A. There's no plan B. I don't know what you want to hear from that. I was like, I'm not going to get a different career. I'm not going to get a different job. My mindset's not going to change. The only thing would change is like, okay, it didn't work out the first time. How can we make it better for the second time, right? So that's it. I believe I was meant to be here. I'm happy that I'm here, and I can't go back. You just can't put me back in retail. I have no more patience with people no more. It's really bad. I worked in groceries a lot. The next time somebody tells me where's carrots and I go around, it's right behind you, I'm gonna snap somebody's neck. So no more. I can't do retail no more. My patience has gone very thin now.
You would do it again to get where you are now, but you would never in a million years go back.
Oh, of course. Oh, hell no. You can't make me. Even if you told me, well, I mean, now those jobs, you get paid a lot more. Let's say $30 an hour, and I still say no. Hell no. No, I'm great. Even though I'm going to be realistic to you. Those jobs gave me security, 401k, healthcare, dental. I get paid, every 2 weeks. where I work now is very unpredictable. I get paid once a month, twice a month, and I have to learn to budget and learn not to spend or overspend because, sometimes I won't have food if I over budget or if I buy stuff. So I feel like with this work, it makes it more worth it. You know what I mean? At least with a retail job, I could clock in, I could be late, and nobody bats an eye. Everybody's just like, whatever. And over there, they see you as a number more than anything, right? But I feel here, doing what I do right now, working, that people are looking out for me. People say, "Ooh, it'd be a good cover, a Maria Wolf cover. Let's go send her an email," right? Like they really want me, right? "Ooh, I really want a commission from you. Ooh, I really want work from you." They really want me, right? To be wanted, that's a great feeling that people want your art style. If I go to a regular retail job, they could care less. If I call off, like, okay, she called off. Somebody take her place. Oh, I quit? Who cares? We'll just hire somebody else, right? And in this career, though they do have that same mentality, there are writers and editors who are like, it didn't work out. Get rid of them. But there are writers and editors who look for those artists, physically are looking for those writers. So it's good to be wanted, right? To actually have a feeling of that you're being wanted and a need for that as well. Yeah.
Maria, thank you so much. You dropped so many jewels right there. We appreciate it. You always have a home here on the Sig Slayers station. This is by the way, I was going to say you are our first female penciler that's been on the show. We have writers, so this is great. We've been really anticipating this, and so thank you. Well, that's all for our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the like button. This is Sig Slayers. I'm Mike, speaking for Mark and Maria the Wolf. We are out. Peace.
Sig Slayers.